An explosive accusation.
A potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
Then the fallout. Diplomats expelled, partnerships under pressure.
I firmly reject the idea that there is a wedge between the U.S. and Canada.
All in the space of days. There are concerns that the consequences of linking India to a political assassination on Canadian soil have only just begun as the rift between the two countries widens. Joining us, Nilesh Bose, a professor of South Asian history at the University of Victoria, and our own Evan Dyer, who's been covering the story extensively. Thanks to both of you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Evan, you brought us those exclusive details about the intelligence that led to the federal government's claim that agents of the Indian government killed Nijjar. What evidence do we currently have to support that?
Well, because there's both security intelligence information and a criminal investigation, we only really have part of half of the picture. That's the security intelligence part that the Canadian government based its claims on. Its allegation, it would say, is definitely not based on conjecture. It's based on pretty solid evidence, they've told us. And that includes human intelligence, so it includes people talking about what happened. And it also includes signals intelligence, which are intercepts of communications. And some of those communications involve Indian diplomats present in Canada, we're told, and some of them were provided by a Five Eyes ally. So that ally not only helped to obtain that information, but also would be aware through their own independent means of what backs up this allegation.
Nilesh, at the beginning of the week, this was a bombshell of a story, and the Indian government said, we just don't believe it. Show us the proof, we don't believe it. Now that there's been a little bit more support of this story through, including other things, reporting by Evan, what changes have we seen in the reaction of the Indian government?
I think there has been an acknowledgement that Indian intelligence has been apprised of different kinds of information that have been shared with the allies of Canada and the United States and the Five Eyes, but still India is quite adamant in asking for clear evidence, which has not been released. But as has been noted, due to national and international security issues, such evidence probably will not be forthcoming for some time. Also, India, as we know, has stopped processing visas for Canadians, and is causing more and more India to showcase its strength in the global stage.
I'm going to ask both of you about Canada's allies, and particularly the other members of the Five Eyes, intelligence countries, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, and the US. Evan, describe for us how those other countries have responded so far.
I'd say the most public one has been the United States, although the Financial Times reported that not only President Biden, but also some other unnamed Five Eyes leaders directly raised this when they met one-on-one with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi. So those haven't been denied, those claims. And typically when false claims like that are published, they are denied. So I think we can assume that that is true, that President Biden did indeed raise this directly. And I think that that's as much as anything else a reason for the slight change in attitude that we have seen coming out of India. I think it was one thing when there was some early reporting, since denied by the White House and then retracted by the Washington Post, saying that the United States had sort of rebuffed Canada's appeals for support. We've seen John Kirby and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan come out and very strongly contradict that and issue some pretty strong statements of support for Canada. And as a result of that, I think we've also seen a more cautious language from New Delhi than when New Delhi thought that Canada was in this all by itself.
So if this story is what the Canadian government says it is, agents of a foreign government killing someone on Canadian soil, Nilesh, you might think there would be this chorus of international support, particularly from Canada's close allies. Are you surprised that hasn't happened?
Well, I think that the global community has also noted that India has for a very long time maintained that Canada has harbored elements that have been oppositional to India, so-called terrorist elements, and these issues have not been resolved. Though if it is to be seen and proven that India is responsible for these attacks, India will have to take responsibility for that. It is a bit surprising, though, that more states have not come out and entered into this discussion.
And Nilesh, I would assume that part of the reason for that is the importance of India strategically to a lot of countries around the world, but also just its size and the potential trade implications of that. But do you think that's played into the sort of lack of strong international support here for Canada?
I think so. I think there's both a sense that India has a position on this issue that should be respected. On the other hand, India, as you've mentioned, is a vast entity, the largest democratic nation state in the world, and it is pivotal to the Indo-Pacific and to any notion of security in that region that would contain China. So every entity in the world that is looking at this is careful not to antagonize India.
And Evan, what about the politics? Oh, yeah, sorry, jump in. I'm sorry.
I mean, actually, just today, if you look, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was meeting with his Indian, Japanese, and Australian counterparts for the Quad security dialogue. So the U.S. is certainly trying to draw India closer and use it as a foil to China, and other countries feel the same way, and also on top of that have other issues, like the UK is in the late stages of free trade talks with India, for example. If you look in the past year, you'll see that France and Australia both received Narendra Modi as guests in their country. So did the United States. So there's a lot of close ties to India and a lot of concern about keeping India, at the very least, as a sort of a neutral, non-aligned actor, but hopefully trying to draw it closer to the West. So that has muted what people would say compared to, for example, a situation where Canada was accusing some rogue state or some minor country where perhaps people would be more vocal in public. But I do think that it's important to note that according to the Financial Times, and not denied by those governments, that they did raise this in private with Narendra Modi. So I think they are concerned. They do recognize too that India has legitimate security concerns, right? I mean, people will remember that Indira Gandhi was assassinated by a Khalistani extremist. So countries are aware of that, and they want to respect that, but that doesn't mean that they would accept it up to crossing a line like sending somebody to be assassinated in a G7 country.
And Nilesh, do you have concerns at all of the impact that this dispute may have on Canadians or people in Canada with ties to India?
I think so. I mean, students and Indians in Canada today have been beset with messages, text messages and emails from their families and friends and relatives in India about their safety. As was implied, the Indian missions abroad often have been besieged with extremists in Canada, in the United States. There are reports of Hindu temples being defaced and vandalized in Canada, adding up to a sense of fear for Indians in Canada, though I think they are magnified and to some degree sensationalized by the diplomatic discussions happening today.
Well, Evan Dyer in Ottawa and Nilesh Bose in Victoria, thanks to you both.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Next, a group of women takes on an extreme job.
It takes guts to get out there and chase a storm.
So what draws them to do it? We go along for the ride next. Most weather a storm. They hunt it down.
There's what I like to call a component of badassery.
That's my AED, first aid kit.
Racing into the heart of a changing climate.
A physical shift of Tornado Alley.
100-year floods that are happening every 10, 20 years.
Chasing storms and witnessing dangerous new patterns. Terry Reith went on the road with a storm chaser in Saskatchewan and spoke to others who are pursuing that perfect shot and also gathering important data and raising the alarm.
Well, hello, Jenny.
Welcome to Saskatchewan.
Thank you. It's windy. There are wind warnings through southern Saskatchewan, gusts to 90 kilometers an hour in a summer of severe weather everywhere. You show me what you have to bring to cover storms like this and winds like this.
So here's the gear that I carry along with.
Jenny Hagan is here to document. She's traveled through the night chasing what could be a dangerous storm.
Also, we bring along a wind meter here.
She takes wind measurements to report to Environment Canada, gathers on-the-ground information for the Northern Tornado and Hail projects, which investigate severe weather in Canada, while gathering photos and videos for her own social media channels.
And I'm here covering the significant August system that is going to be pushing into southeastern Saskatchewan.
Welcome to my home away from home.
Thank you so much. It's cozy, I would say.
Very cozy.
She has a first-hand view of our weather and the forces that drive it.
I have just a passion for weather and the extremes of nature.
She's part of a network of independent storm chasers, often the first people in when wind, rain, or hail strike. In Saskatchewan, this year the story is drought. To the north and west, forest fires.
With these drought cycles that we have, you got the extreme dry temperatures that come in and really cause problems. And then we've also seen drastic swing the other way.
My background has followed the evolution of climate change research for the last 20 years.
In Colorado, Jen Walton is also hunting a storm.
We are currently in between this complex of storms and a whole lot of boundaries and new storms that are going up.
She's consulted with agencies such as FEMA on issues like climate change and resilience. She worries about the growing intensity of storms in areas which are unprepared.
Essentially what we're seeing is a physical shift of Tornado Alley that is impacting, for example, us as chasers here in Colorado. And then the severe weather that we do see is really at this point has been documented to be more extreme. So what we mean by that is warmer oceans pulling in even more moisture into what is now traditional Tornado Alley.
While storm chasing is about gathering images and documenting extreme weather, there's more to it, says Jen Walton. Learning about yourself, finding strength and camaraderie.
When I first started storm chasing, it seemed as though there weren't very many women in the storm chasing universe.
So she set up the online group Girls Who Chase.
There's what I like to call a component of badassery to storm chasing. It takes guts to get out there and chase a storm. The mission of Girls Who Chase is to empower and inspire.
A project that grew out of the pandemic caught on. Girls Who Chase now has 250 contributors in 15 countries, a global community providing training, support, and encouragement. In southern Manitoba, Shannon Bolesky answered the call.
I've got my AED, first aid kit.
Data analyst by day.
Hard hat, just in case I'm ever in any hail and I need to get out.
Storm chaser the rest of the time.
You know, you'll drive for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. It's totally worth it.
Her mission is to capture stunning images of storms. She also provides video and ground reports to Environment Canada and researchers.
From a climate change perspective, you know, we're going through extremes. That's what I'm seeing. It's not that things are necessarily getting warmer, which they are, but we are seeing extremes. Like we're seeing, 100-year floods that are happening every 10, 20 years, right? It's more frequent, it's more extreme.
Got Brooklyn here, her first tornado, so what did you think of that one?
It was really exciting and really cool to see it.
Lately, Jenny Hagan has been bringing her daughter to work.
Do you remember the howl of that wind?
Teaching her how to read storms and understand climate and weather.
We gave each other a big hug on being able to capture the first ever tornado together.
It takes courage to face a storm like this, to feel its power and capture its beauty, setting an example for the next generation. While learning from them, climate change can be managed, not feared.
My children's generation are very well aware of what's happening in this world, and we've seen them probably highly proactive in changing that. So I think they might have a huge influence on what we're going to see in the next 20 years.
Storm chasing is more a calling than a business. Long hours, little financial reward.
What in your mind constitutes a successful chase?
For me, a successful chase is capturing any extremes of nature. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a tornado.
Today, extreme weather is on everyone's mind. Storm chasers help us understand the forces behind it and how to stay safe.
So potential risks, beautiful pictures, and Terry also mentioned how these storm chasers gather information that's useful for scientists.
Yes, Ian, researchers at the Northern Tornado Project at Western University say storm chasers can provide them with excellent on-the-ground information about where a tornado touches down, how much damage, hail size and the like. And for meteorologists, it can help them make sense of what they're seeing on their satellites and radar. But there's also a warning that it's not for everyone. Impromptu storm chasers can get themselves into an awful lot of trouble quite quickly. Since 2005, 13 storm chasers have died, all but 3 of them, though, in motor vehicle collisions while they were chasing storms. Ian.
Terry Reith in Edmonton, thank you. Another story we're working on, adopted by Canadians after the Korean War, but was it under false pretenses? Here's a little bit of that report.
They say family runs deeper than blood.
Mama.
And that every family has a story.
Everybody was abandoned. Everybody had their name made up.
But what if you're adopted?
My life was so empty. Being adopted, you're so alone in this world.
What's your family story?
Based on some of the timing, I think my grandmother then left me somewhere.
And how much of it is true?
I understood that she had been abandoned.
Who should you believe?
People played God.
And what's the cost?
The Orphan Papers, Korean-Canadian adoptions on the breakdown in the coming days. But next, sticking the landing. The skydiving festival with a fairy tale ending in our moment. Summer always feels like it's gone too soon. True in Canada as it is in the UK, where this week a group of skydivers made the very most of its final days. Every year they get together for a good time and to show off their skills, but how they said goodbye to summer this year, well, that's our moment. Skydiving takes skill and precision, but landing on an inflatable unicorn on a slip and slide, that's next level. That's Jan pulling it off at the Skydive Langar Festival in Nottinghamshire, England this week. Only those with at least 200 jumps under their belt could go for the floaty, and try as they might. In the end, there was only Jan.
I'm coming for you!
Which perhaps makes him a unicorn?
That was the best one, yeah.
Don't you love the fact we live in a world where skydiving isn't enough? It has to have a competition of precision like that, and that, you know, they could have chosen any kind of target, but they chose a unicorn, an inflatable unicorn on a slip and slide. Perfect. A reminder, you can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. And you can join me live on Sundays for Cross Country Checkup on CBC Radio and CBC News Network. I'm Ian Hanomansing.